Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about something that's actually often talked about. It's just never really elaborated on in regard to its pursuit. This is something that a lot of people address, a lot of people try to uplift and allow to be a part of their content in regards to what they try to do about it, bring awareness to it, and help others in regards to this aspect. The thing that I'm referencing is mental health. We can define mental health as a person's condition encompassing emotional, psychological, and social well-being that influences cognition, perception, and behavior. You may be wondering why this is significant. Well, the thing is that mental health in our society is on a decline, and people have gone out of their way to try to uplift, but also diminish its importance in regards to everyday living. So besides defining mental health as a whole, we need to go ahead and address what the issue is with it in regards to the platforms it's being delivered on. And we're going to break it down into its parts. We're going to break it down into stigma and bias. Stigma can be defined as a mark of disgrace or a dirty mark, if you will, in the way society can accept it. Bias can be defined as a closed-minded perspective that is weighed unfairly. The reason why these two terms are very important in regards to mental health is because these two are the biggest influencers in regards to how it's being delivered in society. Now, I'm not talking about how it is delivered in a professional setting. I am talking about how it's delivered in a social setting, a communicative setting, settings that aren't professional, settings that aren't safe necessarily. So being that this is a newer social construct, and I mean new by it is constantly evolving, we need to address how it is placed in the social setting. So the big thing that we're going to dive into is social stigma. And social stigma can be defined as the disapproval of or discrimination against an individual or group based on perceived characteristics that serve to distinguish them from other members of a society. The purpose of understanding that is so that you can measure how it's seen and viewed in these social settings. And so I guess the next question is, where is this the most prevalent? And as you can imagine, it would be online platforms, streaming platforms. It would be social media, content creation, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and many different other forms in which this is being delivered on. And so we understand for the most part where it's being delivered the most, but what are the issues in its deliverance? Well, to answer that question, we need to dive into what does it look like in these forms. As we just defined social stigma, we'll start with stigma. There is a very heavy placed stigma in regards to people who are dealing with mental health issues. But in addition to the weight that they feel or the judgment they may feel for undergoing certain abnormalities in their life, it is not only just the people that are dealing with these issues, but it is the label itself that is facing the stigma. Because in a lot of environments and a lot of social settings on online platforms, mental health is almost being clowned on as either a joke, something that's unnecessary, or something that could be so easily solved as to diffuse its significance. You may hear things like mental health isn't real. They just need to man up. It's just a confidence issue. It is really that simple. Therapy Andes, or that going to see a therapist is a way to consider yourself crazy or weak. This is the narrative that is being captured in a lot of Twitch channels, sometimes even YouTube content, a lot of live settings where people give their honest input in regards to what they think mental health is all about. But there's also a stigma in regards to how people that are dealing with mental health issues or mental health concerns in general and how they're going to be received by society. They think that, oh, they're going to do XYZ. They're going to lash out at me. They're going to judge me. They're going to say mean things to me that are going to worsen my condition. And so it is a double-edged sword in regards to stigma in this concept. The other concern in regards to mental health is bias. Bias, as previously defined, is an issue because the people that are currently talking about it or trying to engage in mental health as a topic don't actually know a whole lot about the topic itself. And so they're going based off very minimal forms of information and then regurgitating this information to the public, usually harming the people that they're trying to help. There's also a bias towards people who are dealing with mental health, that you have to be very considerate or overly considerate, overly sensitive. You have to be overly passionate. You have to walk on eggshells around these people. Oh, I can't talk about this subject because this person is here. I don't want to say this because it's going to offend this group of people. Naturally, I'm not talking about heavy discrimination. No, not at all. I'm talking about casual conversations that people feel very alerted to because they feel they need to change their narrative as a whole because these people dealing with these issues exist. And so one of the biggest categories that fall under bias is going to be misinformation. This isn't a time to educate you in mental health. That will come later. But in a lot of situations, when people are trying to do a good thing, they often make decisions half-cocked. The bias that they have towards therapy or mental health just essentially means that all they have to do is talk to a person, ask them what's wrong, ask them about their feeling, when really it is not that simple. This almost seems like a topic that is discussed on an everyday basis. It seems like you could go to any channel, any YouTube video, and someone is going to reference or mention something involving people's mental capability or mental health state and the condition that they may find themselves in, and they will obviously be giving their thoughts freely and openly. It goes without saying that this is a reoccurring problem, reoccurring because the bias and stigma continue, which leads to the educational portion. And so I think the best place to start is dispelling the bias and stigma. And being that we started with stigma, we'll go ahead and start there. Regarding the people that feel a negative view towards mental health, the one thing I'll say is everyone deals with issues. Everyone deals with abnormalities. Even the strongest of people have their own monsters that they will face. And for anyone that wants to belittle people that are facing these issues, I'm gonna call you a coward. The reason why I'm going to call you a coward is because you feel haste in regards to judging others, but you have not faced the monsters within you, which means here you are pointing the finger, but you know damn well that standing in front of a mirror doesn't foster a good sense of environment for you. And that means that you're going to have to be honest with yourself eventually. And when you're honest, then you can come back to the table and be conducive in regards to the growth of other people. The last thing that the world needs more of is a mob mentality. And I see a lot of people diffusing their responsibility and shame when it comes down to the internet. I see a lot of mean comments. I see a lot of hasteful judgments. And all I see is a bunch of people that failed to look at their own components of their life. And so for anyone that does want to put forth honest sentiments and honest comments, I think that it takes a good bit of introspection to look at you before you put something out there. Regarding the stigma of the people that are dealing with issues and are dealing with their own concerns in regards to how they receive attention in the world. Yes, the world is cruel. The world is mean. The one thing that you need to understand is that your journey and your process is your journey and your process. The people that are going to help you along this journey, they will help you and they will continue to help you. They will continue to guide you. These are the people that you should listen to, that you should foster that sense of safety with, that you should foster that sense of a growing and developing environment with. There are going to be mean people that are not making these steps that you are making. You need to understand that all you have to do is separate yourself from these people, make hasteful judgments of who is here to help you and who is not here to help you, and that can help you make that divide in regards to how you create your own social setting. In regards to bias, for the people that do want to help their communities and they do want to help their societies, the one thing that I'm going to challenge you to do is to do a little more soul searching in regards to how you think you're helping people. I understand that a lot of people that think they know a lot about mental health don't actually know a lot, and I think it's time for you to hit the books, hit the soul, do things that develop you further and master yourself, so that way you know how other people manage to work through their own issues. Because the one thing that is a heavy requirement when it comes down to helping others is establishing an immense sense of empathy. And in today's society, that is a very rare quality, very rare. And to say that you are here to help everyone all the time is to say that you have mastered that. In all reality, it's often a sign that you are running from your own issues, and by helping others, you alleviate the desire to work on yourself, because here I am helping others, and this is easier to help others because there's no emotional content or attachment than to work on myself. And the one thing that I will challenge is that you need to work on yourself first before you help others. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of stuff that's going around that is inaccurate. It is never that simple. And there's always going to be something more that you can do about yourself, which means that road never stops. It's only when you establish an immense sense of accountability and empathy for yourself can you establish that for the community. But if you have not done that for yourself and there is gaping holes in your life, then attune your focus to that and then move forward to your community so it is wholesome, genuine, and authentic. Another point to shine light on are the people that feel the need to cater to people dealing with mental health issues. And for those that want to be catered, you need to establish a sense of confidence in yourself. For the people that are trying to cater to these people and overly cater, as I previously described, you're not helping. The whole point of therapy and the therapeutic process is to normalize these people's lives. It is not to induce sensitivity. It is not to induce dependency, for that matter. It is to make them as independent and as pro-social as possible. So that way they can go out into the world and be successful on their own, like a bike with training wheels. If the child is the person that is undergoing therapy, the therapist is the dad, and the therapy are the training wheels. And you work with that construct until the training wheels are off and that person goes their own path with the new tools and establishments that they've made with themselves. And so the last thing can be done to separate the people that are speaking from bias and the people that approach this in a professional setting is that it takes a lot to be a successful therapist and psychologist. That is to say, successful. That means it is typically the older crowd, because a lot of the younger variations of therapists and psychologists have a lot of life experience to undertake. They have a lot of mistakes to make. These are people that just graduated college with only experience in college, and then they went straight into the field, hitting certain certifications and marks along the way. The one thing I'll say is these are still people that you can work with and work along and gain information from and research from to help your delivery if you're someone that's trying to do it as a community piece, as a social piece. And so the one thing that I'm going to say in addition to that is I understand the requirement of help. I understand the idea of feeling the need to help. That is always a good sentiment. However, where it comes from is often skewed. And so the one thing that can be done about it is how about you link references? How about you establish lines of communication and connection with people who will help? People, there's a lot of psychologists out there or therapists out there that do offer free counseling in a lot of forms, and that is a good way to approach that. And so for the people that feel that they have these mental health sessions in their streams, even though they are not someone who should be speaking on that kind of platform, maybe involve these people, link up with these people. I know that it's hard to do. I know that it's harder to coordinate. However, I know a lot of streamers have mental health Fridays or some theme in regards to that sentiment and that psychological field. So you have a whole week to find some references. You have a whole week to establish lines of communication with psychologists, people that can hop in and give their 2 cents in regards to what you're trying to accomplish on your channel or with your community. And like I said, it takes a lot to be a successful therapist. It takes a lot to be a successful psychologist. It takes a lot of life experience. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of empathy, a lot of confidence in self, because a lot of the best psychologists are people that have established a sense of mastery with self. They're not at the end of the road and they're not perfect, but they are farther along that sense of development than most people because they are grounded in regards to who they are and what they're going to do moving forward. So that's why they're putting forth those efforts into the community. But it always starts with you. So thank you for everyone that has watched so far. Now starts the Q&A where I address any comments in the comment section, questions that are educational, psychological in nature, people that want to seek additional guidance or a new perspective. My big thing is that anyone who comes humbly can receive something respectfully. And if there's no comments in the comment section, just like my audience is crickets, then I go ahead and pose a question for myself to answer and give my best enlightening possible answer to this question. And the question is, what is confidence. You heard me use the term confidence before, and it was with every intent to answer it at the end of the video. Confidence, in my eyes, can be defined as an applied certainty of self due to developed passion or experience towards a person, goal, or objective. A lot of the times, confidence comes from the realm of experience or knowledge in regards to what we try to achieve in our life. But the thing is that can get heavily confused with comfort or being comfortable with a certain task. Being comfortable with a certain task is not confidence. Confidence is the sense of, I am experienced and I have deemed myself successful in a lot of areas, so I can take on these unknown tasks. And I know that I am not going to fail miserably, but I know that I may fail and I may learn upon that failure, but I will succeed eventually. And the reason why confidence is so important in regards to a video like this is because a lot of people do not have confidence in themselves. It's not necessarily that it's completely absent, but it is not something that they are empowering themselves with. And that's why a lot of therapists and psychologists tap into these people's life streams and try to seek the empowerment of these people so that way they can uplift themselves and prove to them that here are these points in their life where they actually do some pretty courageous things, or that they do find a sense of grounding in, and then uplift that into a point of establishing a sense of character, so that way you are more confident in who you are, therefore you will go out into the world more confidently. One of the common misconceptions is confidence is tied to doing everything on your own. The one thing to confront that concept with is confidence versus pride. Confidence doesn't bestow ill will, nor does it come from a facetious or maladaptive place. Pride does, and pride will taint our ability to operate on our own. And so the way pride can infect us is by saying, for example, if we have a situation we find ourselves in and we are going to take on a task, pride has a way of infecting our ability to take on that task to state that we need to do this on our own. And if anyone comes to help us, then pride will turn their assistance into a concept of they think less of us, and that's why they're helping. Not realizing that pride is actually infecting our ability to be social. Confidence doesn't have that outlash. Confidence knows that we are going to approach this task to the best of our ability. If people help, that's not a big deal. You already had it set in your mind that you were going to do it on your own. If anyone comes along, there's no maladaptive chain reaction of thoughts. It's just you are now being helped and you are more accepting of help because this is something that is outside of you that can be done. Now, when it comes down to things inside of you in regards to applying confidence to self, if you were to gauge the importance of confidence, it is one of the platforms you stand on as a human being. Without confidence, you are very shaky. You will fall, you will crumble, you will tip over and lay waste and disappear, which is why confidence of self is in line with respect for self. And these are two characteristics that need to coexist for you to pursue development in you. Confidence is a consistent characteristic. It is not like motivation. Motivation comes in waves of energy, drives to do something. Confidence is not that way. Confidence is something that needs to be sustained. It means that you need to establish a level of confidence that is consistent in your manner of being, so that way you can apply it to everything you do as you continue on. It means that you carry the humble experiences of your life and the empowerments and negatives yet you have as a collective, and continue to apply yourself to new things, engaging in the natural human condition of exploring. So that's my little piece on confidence. Thank you for everyone watching the video so far. Go ahead, hit the comments below for anyone that agrees or disagrees. Also, any comments for the follow-on video in which I will conduct my Q&A. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you dislike the video, then dislike it, and you'll never see me again. Last closing point in regards to mental health, I think that we as a society can really do better. I think we owe it to ourselves to enlighten ourselves. I think it takes a lot of work for us to put into ourselves, and a lot of us want to run from that responsibility, but I think that a lot of people, if you just tried, will be so much more grateful for it. And then we as society can come together and be more uplifting to everyone. With that being said, I really appreciate everyone watching the video, and I'll go ahead and see you next time.